The Geek Speak Show is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
This is the Geek Speak Show with Henry and Miguel. Interviews, reactions, and discussions about almost everything in geek culture, especially things you may not have heard about in your social media feeds. Like what? Keep listening. This episode is sure to introduce you to something new. Here's your host, Henry and Miguel.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Now, if you're in Southern California like I am, finally, took a while, but finally, it looks and feels, even smells like fall. It's raining, it's cold, dark, and windy. So because of that, and before it goes back to 80-degree weather tomorrow, we're going to give you a little preview of what the Halloween episode is going to sound like this year. Because, again, look out your window. If you're in Southern California, that is perfect weather for it. We, by the way, no, I'm not going crazy. It's just one of me here. But we is me, of course, and the Nerdy Navajo, Shanclen. Oh, young warrior.
We is I, and I is you, and yous is we, Henry.
And yes. I was going to say he still doesn't read, but actually he does, as we found out on last week's episode. So we can't say that anymore. He leads and he reads.
I am now an educated scholar, Henry. I read 2 comic books, and now I have a PhD in literature. Yes.
I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, though, because he knows how to kill, at least. That's the only thing, because that's what his comic book was about, killing the Marvel Universe.
Yes. New tactics on how to take down the abomination of the Marvel. I'm just kidding.
Before we get out of hand, really quick, though, let's come back to IRL. I always say, it's not, the reason why I say young warrior, it's not just because, it sounds cool. No, he actually is a young warrior. We're not going to go into all the details because the wrong audience for it. You guys are interested in the spooky stuff. Again, I can tell by all these 15 years, the Halloween episode is always the most downloaded. So obviously you guys love the spooky stuff, but you just like the jump scares. You just like watching horror movies. You don't like explanations of why houses are haunted, why why creatures are there, why Loch Ness Monster exists, why Bigfoot is real, and why he is there. You don't want to hear that. You just want to get the jump scare, the cool thing. But in real life, yeah, we talk about all the geek stuff. Shanclen tells you, what's happening on TV, movies, and comic books, what happens at events, like at Comic-Cons, things like that. But how we met was through paranormal stuff, real paranormal stuff, not the TV shows, real things. Now, we've all seen this. I've seen this. I've taken part in with our production company, filming some of them. But when I met Shanclen and his brother and the team that they had at the time, and I went to a couple of investigations, well, I'll say in quotations, it's not really investigations, it's battles, real battles. Now with lightsabers, although they did carry real sabers, blessed ones. Let me have you explain, because I could explain it and it'll sound cool, but you explain what you guys actually do, especially what your brother used to do.
Cue the fire, cue the thunder sound effects, cue the lightning, cue all the spooky sounds you can have, Henry.
It's 2025. It's not in our budget. See, that's why you guys should send some donations my way, too, not just Shanclen's way.
Yes. Donate to the Geek Speak Show, everybody. But yes, where I come from is a very spooky tale to the normal person. But growing up in the indigenous Navajo nation that we have here in Arizona, our family participated in what we call ghost busting in the English language, pretty much getting rid of evil and darkness inside of the world. So whenever somebody was dealing with paranormal activity, demons, and darkness on the reservation, they would call us, and we would dispatch of that evil. Until I decided to make a YouTube channel and explore outside of the reservations with spirits, help them, and interact with them. And like how Henry mentioned, sometimes go blow for blow with these dark beings.
And I will say, not just because he's a friend, but I always describe him as my big little brother because he's like 6'7" or whatever. He's a giant when you see him, but really, really gentle giant. But even the YouTube channels that he created, they're different than the typical ghost hunting ones where I call them the screaming kids because if you watch any of it, and you probably have because it's October, it's Halloween, you're all in the spooky mood. We're like a couple weeks away from Halloween, so you're looking for that stuff, for spooky stuff. You've seen them, you've heard them for sure. They go to a haunted house and they all scream around, "Oh my God, what is that?" Ah! That's not what Shanclen does. Believe me, the stuff that, and I've been there, the stuff that they encounter would make the screaming kids have to clean themselves afterwards, change the diaper, let's put it that way, for real. So even with that, it's different than the typical paranormal or ghost hunting videos you see out there. And the other thing I will say, when you guys hear ghost hunting, because of the TV shows that are on TV, especially right now, you probably think they just go into a room, they have the equipment, they put it there. Is anybody in this room? And they do a little bit of that, but it's really more. Well, let me ask it this way. You answer this. Why you guys? Why are you guys, you and your brother and the team that you guys had, why were you guys called and not other people on the reservation?
Because we know what to do. There's different classifications when it comes to helping out the reservations, when it comes to medicine men and hitahlis. There's some that specialize in the thing called hashket ceremonies, which is more so of the fighting battle kind of ceremonies. So we specialize in that. So that's why they would call upon us. And there's not many of us out there when it comes to certain situations like this. So, I guess you can say we got the experience, the knowledge, and the teachings to be able to do it.
Yeah, I explained this over on the paranormal show that we did, Paranormal Perception. I explained it there when we did live events and you guys were there. I explained it there, but this audience, if you're getting the wrong idea, as the kids say, don't get it twisted. Just because someone is indigenous and Native American doesn't mean you're in touch with spirits and you can speak to them. You might be able to, but there are some that are particularly gifted more than other people.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, Shanclen's stories are, to quote a certain Vulcan, unique. They're not about screaming and running around, although they might do that sometimes for the camera, for you guys, for the entertainment. But in a minute, I'm going to have you listen to some of his stories. And again, it's a preview of what you're going to hear. A lot of the stories for this year's Halloween episode come from you guys. You guys have recorded some. You've also sent some in that Shanclen and I will read back. In fact, we recorded some just this morning. So you'll hear some of those, but you'll also hear maybe some from me, some, and definitely a few from Shanclen. So this is what it sounds like. It's what it's going to sound like in a couple of weeks. Start thinking about your stories, and we'll come back in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Henry will be back in a minute or two.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
I wonder if that was for someone in particular.
Local radio brings people together like never before.
It's a beautiful hometown weekend out there. We've got
Your local stations keep you informed and involved with music, talk shows, and real-time news updates you can trust. We are live and local. We are America's broadcasters, connecting you to what matters most. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress to support your local radio stations.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Going by the number of listens to the Geek Speak treats and the Halloween episodes, we can assume you like scary things. Try Henry's other show for some real-world scares. Paranormal Perception is a show where the unexplained, the unbelievable, and, yes, the terrifying aspects of our world are discussed. These are not ghost stories, but rather experiences with the other side. Henry also talks about UFOs, alien abductions, cryptids, folklore from other cultures, and more. You can listen to past episodes, as well as all the new ones by visiting paranormalperception.show. This is Paranormal Perception's final year, so listen now, before the show disappears.
Now back to the Geek Speak Show. Here's Henry San Miguel.
You know, I gotta say, you guys can't see us. We can see each other. During that little break there, I got a look from Shanclen. I'll say this. I think, when was it? A week ago, whenever it was, what's the new game? Battlefield just came out. As we're recording this, I think it's my son's day off. So him and his friends, I think, are playing. So that's probably why he's catching strays. It wasn't like I played it on purpose just for Shanclen, although the look he's giving me right now says he doesn't believe me.
Nah, I know you put that in there for a reason.
Yeah, because I needed time to fill. Really, that's no particular reason why. But like I said, in a couple of weeks, you're going to hear ghost stories on the Halloween episode. Most of them, like I said, from you guys. A couple of you have sent them in. We recorded some this morning, so you'll hear that. But you're also going to hear some from Shanclen. And we just explained a second ago why Shanclen's ghost stories, any experiences he has, why they're a little bit different and unique from typical people. So, you ready? Did you think of a few?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, I don't have the sound effect. I can add them in. I can add them in post, but right now we're doing it live. So, microphone is yours. Tell us the stories.
All right, everybody, sit down and get ready for a spooky tale from Shanclen himself. Now, let me give you a little bit of context for this story here. When we started up our YouTube channel to be go ghost hunting and go see all the spooky things in the world, we ran upon a location called the Vulture City Ghost Mine. Now, this town was an ancient mining town here in Wickenburg, Arizona. And we've grown fond of the previous caretakers of this location, enough so to gain their trust for them to ask me personally, Shanclen, to become the ghost tour guide at this haunted location. And for those of you who have never been there, this town is pretty huge, pretty massive. I would have to say about 20 buildings, I would have to say, on this location. So many different ghosts and beings have gone through this town and the haunted walkways throughout the centuries. So, the time here, while I was a ghost hunting tour guide, I would have to say was a very unique experience, just because of the fact that it was immediately when you arrive on the property, you were feeling things, sensing things when it comes to the ghosts and the spirits of this town. And I have never been on an endeavor like this in my life before, to where whenever we would go do ghost hunting or ghost busting on our tribe, we'd show up to the location, handle business, and leave. And hopefully the spirits would be at peace and all the darkness is chased away. And the people that live there are happy and content. But for this location here, I had to show up, respect their space, and do absolutely nothing but tell their story, which was new for me. So one night, I would have to say, we were walking with about 15 to 20 people on this ghost tour. And this certain house, this certain building on the location was called the bunkhouse. Now, the bunkhouse was the place where all the miners used to stay, sleep, cook, and eat. And later on in time, they began to section parts of the building off. Till recent day, one of the rooms inside of the bunkhouse is called the bridal room. And the bridal room is, for current day, if you wanted to get married in a haunted town, is where the brides get ready. To kind of share a little bit of what this room looks like, You walk into the room, wood planks on the floor, wood planks on the walls, with only 2 windows to the east and the north.
Wait, pause.
Pausing.
I know some people heard you say that and they're thinking, because it's 2025, it's a thing. Are they still doing that? Can people still get married in a haunted location?
From when I was there, yeah, they were still doing it. It's been a couple years since I've been a ghost tour guide, so yeah, I'm not too sure if they're doing it today. But they do have a website you guys can go check out if they still do that.
Yeah. Well, I say that because when you said that, and when people heard you say that, I'm sure someone said, like, wait a minute, that's where I want to get married. But continue.
Very spooky indeed. So this location housed a wedding dress on a mannequin with mirrors all over the room, with children's toys on tables and chairs. Now, on my tours, I would stop at this location and let the attendees roam the building and the area around to let them see if they experience anything after I share their story. Now, after the attendees had finished up, told them they can all gather around, we can all continue on with the tour and go to the next section of the town. But on my routine, instead of returning back to the town after everyone left to lock up the doors, I would lock the doors after each section. So, when everyone was standing right outside of the bunkhouse bridal room, I walk in and I always tell the spirits, thank you guys for your interactions, and please do not connect yourself to any of the attendees that have joined this tour tonight. And as I was about to walk out, a little stuffed bear started playing his tune inside of his music box in his chest. I freaked out because in all my years of paranormal experiences, dealing with darkness and evil and ghosts and spirits, this was the first time I have ever seen or heard that little bear play his tune.
Yeah, I always laugh when you tell me those kind of stories because and I don't think you've ever told me that one when you were there. But I always laugh because, like I said, when I'm making this up, I've been witness to it. They see demons, real things. The things you see in horror films are nothing compared to what the guys have seen in real life. That doesn't scare them. But a musical bear, that terrifies them. A chainsaw, that terrifies Shanclen. A giraffe, that terrifies Shanclen.
Just because I was not expecting any darkness or evil. This is like one of those textbook style creeps that just come out of nowhere. And because it came from a neutral spirit, because it came from a good spirit, possibly wanting to play a little prank on me and freak me out, I didn't sense it. So it did its thing. It freaked me out because, like I said, I've never experienced a music box playing on its own like that. I have only seen that in movies. And I honestly freaked me out, but I was geeking out at the same time. And I right as I pulled out my phone to record, I recorded the last few notes of it playing. I jumped around, was walking around to try to see if it would play again or not. Nobody was able to wind that doll up at all. I don't even know how that thing works, but it played and it freaked me out. And I was just like, okay, a couple people that were outside heard it too as well. I was like, all right, this it was a reminder that I work at a haunted location, so that freaked me out, as well as other things happened in that town. But we'll go ahead and save that for another story.
Yeah, let me ask something that some of the Geek Speak listeners might be wondering, because we've talked about some of these things in the past before. People experiencing things, and people want to experience things again because 'tis the season. It's Halloween.
Yes.
When someone thinks they see something, a shadow, a full-bodied apparition, that's a ghost, as we would call them, they hear something. Can anyone experience it, or is it only certain people that can experience these things?
It depends on the level of exposure the spirit wants to do. From what I've seen and learned, because I was a ghost tour guide there for a little over a year, and I've had all sorts of people come to my tours, and gifted and non-gifted, and everybody that was there experienced something each tour. Whether, I encourage people to record, I encourage people to take photos. They hear sounds. I even had somebody on my tour get scratched at one of the more hostile buildings that were there. So, it just kind of depends. Some people hear voice and the others don't, but then everybody hears a knock on the building or somebody sees a shadow walking. So it just kind of really depends on the spirit and who they want to target per se for their scares and creeps. Yeah.
Here's a follow-up question actually to that I'm sure some of the listeners might be thinking. If they're at something like this, not necessarily like a haunted ghost town, because Vulture City, I've been there with you guys many times. It is haunted, and like Shanclen said, you can feel it when, even if you don't believe in this stuff, you've never had an experience, it's gonna feel off the moment you walk in, especially if you get to go in there at night. There was one night when we were filming a TV show, a pilot, just us, just the team, and just my son and myself. That was the most alive I've ever seen and felt that city ever. So it is real. But the follow-up to that would be, let's say somebody is somewhere, not necessarily a ghost town or even a place that's haunted. Like for example, right now people go to Halloween Horror Nights or Not Scary Farm or Disneyland even, because they're doing their Halloween stuff, and they think they see something, they think they feel something or hear something. Shanclen's not with them. If they start getting scared, what could or should they do if they think they're experiencing something?
There's different levels to it. If they just show themselves to you, then just take it for what it is. The spirits have chosen you for them to reveal themselves to you. Kind of take it as a little bit of a blessing. But if you start feeling sick to your stomach, if you start feeling pains, we've had people that get scratched, hit, so many different things that affect their physical body. If you're getting negatively affected at one of these locations, leave immediately and try to, talk with the spirit, say, I'm going to be leaving, and try to always say whenever you leave the location. For us, whenever I go to a haunted location, I always give tobacco offering. Now, when it comes to Knott's Berry Farm or anything, as far as for a huge commercial location like that, I don't think you'll be able to do that. But acknowledge the spirits when you leave, and always leave.
Well, you can, but they'll throw you out. Like, what are you doing?
Don't be putting your vape juice on the ground or anything like that. But you can just talk with the spirit and just be like, thank you for your interaction. I know this interaction wasn't the best, but I wish that you do not follow me or attach yourself to me mentally, physically, or spiritually, or any of my objects that I brought into this location here. And you set that boundary, you set that line to where they don't follow you home, especially when it comes to spooky time like this.
But seriously, I got to throw this in, because this is something that I've really learned mainly around being you guys. When you do that, when you say that, you got to mean it, because if you don't mean it, it's going to have zero effect.
Yeah. Your intent is powerful as a human being. So you guys have to understand that. So you have to mean it. Otherwise, you'll be getting calls like I did for my ghost tours, like pots and pans inside of my house are moving. I'm seeing shadows. I'm getting dragged off my bed and I'm getting levitated down the stairs. Something like that. So you guys got to be, it's actually real, everybody. So just be careful out there.
There's another lesson that you learned. Remember that? I think you'll know what it is. I'll come back in a second. But another thing I was going to say is when you notice, I know in this audience, there's a lot of people who don't have any religious background or religious beliefs, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, notice how Shanclen, not once did he say, pray, call out to Jesus, to to God, whatever. He didn't say that. He said, you be in charge of you. And you tell them, you got to mean it. You tell them, hey, this is cool, but you can't come home with me. You got to stay here. This is your home. I got to go in my home. That's what he's saying. So if you're thinking like, well, do I have to pray? Not really. He never mentioned once anything about religion or spirituality even. It's just, you have like in the real world, if you want somebody invading your private space, you have a right to tell them, like, hey, that's cool. You're trying to scare me, but don't touch my face. Don't touch me. Same thing here.
that just shows you the level that we're on. We see spirits and ghosts just like normal people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I was gonna, I remember this. I think it was at OC Paracon, the event we used to put on with the Paranormal Perception podcast. I think you said it there on one of the presentations you did. Maybe it was on an episode. I don't remember where, but something that stood out to me, that you learned a lesson one time. You were doing that. You thought you had told this thing to not follow you home, but it did. And it wasn't until you spoke to your brother, who had more training at the time, obviously. He told you it was just one word. You said something wrong, or you used the wrong word, and it didn't misunderstand you. It saw it as permission to follow you home.
Exactly. It was, that's why we always say the English language is a very dangerous language, because it's not specific enough. And just like how I mentioned, every time I would leave that ghost town, I would give tobacco offering and kind of like write up a contract or like a payment verbally with these spirits to not have them follow me. And so how I worded it was, I offer you this tobacco so that you do not follow me home. And because I said so, it was up to interpretation of the spirits and those beings. They've been here for hundreds of thousands of years. They've mastered the English language probably by now. And so, you know, they were able to affect me on my drive home to where I felt like I had a rope around my neck and I was getting hung, which was intense. And I had to get like a little exorcism done for my brother. And he asked me, he was just like, how did you word your prayer? And I told him that, how I said it. And he's like, you need to swap out for exchange, because that's more of a exact word of the exchange that you're doing. So the new prayer that I started saying after that was, I offer you this tobacco in exchange that you do not follow me home. You do not attach yourself to me mentally, physically, spiritually, or any of my objects that I have or my vehicle that I brought with me.
Yeah, because we can laugh about it now because Shanclen's sitting here in front of me, but that's kind of like when we say, so you're saying there's a chance. That's how the spirit saw that. I said, hey, so you're saying I could follow you home if I want to, which he did, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you gotta be careful with how you say things.
Yeah, that's why interacting with spiritual beings, it's all fun and good until, like I said, you start getting affected and you don't know why.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have more questions, but honestly, I'm going to save them for the Halloween episode, because we'll do the stories, some of the ones that came in. You'll tell some, I may share some. But not to bore you guys, but we're going to tell you why you shouldn't mess around with this stuff and what to do if you accidentally do. Because on Halloween weekend and night, a lot of you are going to want to play Ouija boards, want to do something spooky, but we're not calling you dumb or anything, but in the way you kind of are. We'll say innocently dumb, because you just don't know. You don't know what you're not taught. So these things are real. You know, you guys watch movies and it doesn't seem dangerous because in the credits roll, you go home like riding a roller coaster. Oh, that was fun. That was cool. Roller coaster doesn't really follow you home unless you start throwing up when you get home. But these things, they are real and they're not of this world. But the fact that they have the power to punch into ours, kind of like when Poltergeist, that should tell you what kind of power they actually do have. So you got to be careful with it. Yeah, it's fun, but you got to be careful with it. We'll talk about that on the Halloween episode. But we didn't do any pre-talk, any show prep before. You told me you have a couple of stories. The second one you said was just a haunted house. Now, when you say a haunted house, are you talking about an actual house that's haunted? Or are you talking about the the haunts that show up every Halloween?
So kind of like the commercial attraction,
like Knott's Scary Farm and those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So this one may not have a lot of paranormal, but this right here will dive into my fears personally when it comes to everyday life.
This is an example of what you said a second ago. See, indigenous people, we have fun too. We see ghosts. Well, they also have fun. They go to haunted houses. They're not all stoic and serious, and they don't smile. Yeah, if you get, you kind of hear it in Shanclen. If you watch his channels, you'll see it there. Yeah, he talks about serious stuff, scary stuff sometimes, with a smile on his face. He always laughs at things.
Yes. I went to a haunted house this one time just because of the thrill of being scared. Like it's different when it comes to when you go against evil and darkness, you have this warrior mindset that naturally turns on for you so you don't get scared. Now, when it comes to a haunted house attraction with physical people in costumes trying to scare you, it's fun because I can let my guard down. I can relax.
No, that's not why. You know the real reason why. I'll tell people the real reason why. It's because most scare people, they look like us. He's 6'5", 6'6" almost when he's wearing his Hoka shoes. So he's not really scared. I think they're more scared of you than you are of them. Is what it is.
I have to say, like in the story, you'll hear some actors getting scared themselves about me walking through. So yeah. So to kind of set this up too, I went to a haunted house in Phoenix, Arizona called the 13th Floor with my little siblings. And my younger siblings really didn't go through a lot of what we went through or experience anything that we went through. So I like seeing them get scared at some of these things. I like seeing them get freaked out. And when I'm over here just having a jolly good time experiencing being, in that environment of scares and horror. So on this location.
Wait, those of you that are saying that's mean, no, that's actually being the older brother. That's what older brothers do.
I like seeing my siblings be tortured. I'm just kidding. No.
Okay, now you're going too far now.
Yeah. Anyways.
We are being recorded,
No, okay. Anyways, so we arrive at this location, and as any big commercial haunted house, we were waiting in line, and they already have some actors walking around in really great costumes freaking people out. And at this location, the haunted house had different themes, different sections of the haunted house. There was a zombie theme, there was a ghost theme, and there was a monster theme at this location. So we make our way inside of the haunted house with my siblings, and I have them go first. Remember that. We started out this whole haunted house experience with them going first. 10 steps in, my sisters freak out and they jump behind me. So I end up leading the whole way toward the haunted house experience. We make our way. From the right, there's a ghost that jumps out. From the left, there's a zombie that jumps out and freaks out my siblings. And then there's a little tiny demon girl inside of an ancient hospital inside of this place. She crawls out from one of the exam tables and she looks at my feet. She stops her act of scaring and screaming and she looks all the way up to my eyes. And I think I freaked out this actor because she crawled back underneath the desk and said nothing as we walked through the room. So we're making our way and we stumble upon a hallway that is, if you guys have seen those old houses that had their drywall taken out and there's just kind of like wood strips broken out on the sides, there was that. Yes. But we start making our way.
I don't like those in these kind of haunted houses because it's kind of telegraphing that something's going to pop out of it.
Exactly. With this, we were making our way and a dark, tall shadow, almost as tall as me, walks out from the end of the hallway. And he has a chainsaw in his hand. Now, as Henry mentioned earlier, I have a huge fear of chainsaws. Now, to get past this hallway, you had to run toward this person with the chainsaw, and there's a door on the right you had to go through. And so my sisters bolted. And let me tell you, these two are basketball athletes that played college basketball. They sprinted and ran past that man and went down the hallway. And I tried catching up, walking fast. I didn't run, of course, but I was like walking pretty quick because I was kind of freaked out. And once I started making my way down the hallway, the actor bolted toward me. And Henry, I screamed. Like legit, the first time in my life that I actually screamed for my life was when I felt that chainsaw blade hit the back of my legs. and he rubbed it against it. Of course, he didn't have the actual chains on there, but for those of you who know, the shell of where the chain actually goes, the sleeve hit my leg, and I felt the vibration of the chainsaw hit the back of my legs, and I freaked out. I screamed because I could only imagine, because out in the reservation, we chop a lot of wood. We use chainsaws all the time. I know the dangers of what a chainsaw can do to a human person. So I screamed. I freaked out, and I bolted. I never ran that fast since high school. It was gnarly. So, continuing on with the story, my siblings, I find my sisters, they're huddled in the corner, freaking out, waiting for me to get through the chainsaw man. And we start making our way throughout the rest of the haunted house location. Really great scares, really great actors, freaking everybody out throughout the whole thing. And we make our way outside of the prop built houses. And then there's, I guess you can say, what are those things called? Those red ropes that help line walkways, so you know which
velvet
way to
ropes.
go. What was that?
The velvet ropes.
Velvet ropes, yeah. So they had those velvet ropes kind of leading you toward the exit. It's all dark, everything. There's no lights in there. And so you're just like, okay, cool. That was awesome. That was really fun. You start making your way. And out of nowhere, in the darkness, when I had my guard down, an actor from the ground of the shadows jumps up and freaks me out. He screams, and I almost knocked this actor out if it wasn't for my sister grabbing my arm to make sure I didn't knock out this actor. Because that was like the second time at that location where I completely let my guard down. I was like, okay, cool. We're good. We're all right. We made it through. Rawr! Freaks me out. But it's good training to be able to desensitize yourself from dark beings and things you may see out when you're ghost busting, doing things, and always have that teaching of don't mess with chainsaws. Number 2, always have your guard up until you're back in the car.
And even then, well, over here in Anaheim, we have the haunted car wash. So even in your car, you're not safe over here. And
no,
the best part is, in that haunted car wash is filled with clowns. Another thing that everybody's afraid, a lot of people are afraid of, clowns.
Now, if they had a giraffe car wash, Henry, I'd be crying.
And that's, again, this is why it's a little bit different, and it's funny to hear that side of Shanclen, because we've never really gotten into detail. We've hinted at, when I call him young warrior, there's a reason why, because they have battled real demons, what we would consider demons. They have done a lot of things with those things. So I always find it funny because, again, I've been witness to what they do. I've been with them. I find it funny that what's something that you or me or any other normal person listening to the Geek Speak show right now, we'd be jumping and yelling and screaming just because it's a dark hallway or the house looks haunted. They go in, it's nothing. Somebody jumps out as a zombie, like, oh, that's funny. Somebody else jumps out as, some of the monster or ghost or whatever. Oh, that's cool. Little demon psycho girl, crawls out. See Shanclen. She gets scared, goes back. That doesn't really scare them. What scares you? Chainsaw, giraffe. What was the other thing that you said?
It's just some random guy with my guard down freaking me out.
Yeah. No, it's just regular things that you wouldn't find scary. That's what Shanclen is really afraid of. I always find it funny when he tells those kind of stories. So it's a little bit, again, a tease of what you're going to hear on the Halloween episode. We got a few, many from you guys. I've got a few. I may share. I haven't shared them in a while, I don't think. My paranormal experiences when I was 4 years old. What started actually this interest in everything spooky, because it's always been around me too. So, Wednesday, October 29th, a couple of days before Halloween, that's when you're going to be able to hear the complete Halloween episode. Thanks to all of you who sent in your stories and to the many of you who will be listening on Halloween weekend. Like I said, always the most downloaded, so I know there's going to be a lot of you. So for you, I know you like telling them, so mainly because you've got too many branches, like I said, but where can they follow all of your stuff?
I'm okay. So I've revised this from the last time. So I have YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. 2 channels on YouTube. If you want the links to all those, Henry has a link tree to everything. So sums it up right there. But my main YouTube channel is Shanclen Shadow Productions. So if you guys like spooky month, spooky stories, I do it year round.
Yeah, what we're going to be doing on the Halloween episode, you've been doing that actually this whole month. So it's pretty cool. And you can see it. It's not just like now you're listening. You can actually see him telling the stories, and he sets the mood, and it is very, I wouldn't say moody, but there's a better word, I guess. It's very atmospheric. How about that? There's a word. So, I like this talking stuff. I mean, the show is called Geek Speak, and I usually do very, very little speaking other than when I interview the people on here. So I think because I like this talking stuff, next week, you guessed it, it's time for Issues of the Day. So we're going to be doing a lot of speaking next week. Be here, and you'll definitely hear us speak more geek.
While you wait, you can learn more about the show and the guests at thegeekspeakshow.com. Follow the show on social media at GeekC on Instagram, The Geek Speak Show on TikTok and Facebook, and Geek Speak videos on YouTube. If you want to be on the show or have any questions or comments, send an email to geek.speak@gmx.com. Henry and Shanclen will return next week with an all-new episode of The Geek Speak Show.
The Geek Speak Show was produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.